So I have a new threat to free speech for everybody. This came out this week. Poll, 45% of Republican voters support closing biased or inaccurate outlets. President Donald Trump isn't alone in his disdain for the so-called fake news media. A new Economist YouGov poll found that 45% of Republicans support permitting the courts to shut down news media outlets for publishing or broadcasting stories that are biased or inaccurate. Wow. So nearly half of Republicans do not agree with the First Amendment. They don't agree with free speech or a free press, free expression. They don't believe in it. Wow. I mean, think about that. Like, if you ask people, hey, man, do you like whatever? Fox News, do you like MSNBC? You're going to get very different reactions from different people. You're telling me that if you're talking to half of Republicans and you ask them, should the government shut down outlets that you don't like? They'd say yes. Half Republicans go, yeah. And by the way, they're so ridiculous that they don't realize how quickly this can be flipped back on them. Yeah, the government should shut down biased media outlets. Well, then what happens if the government were to try to shut down Fox News? Then they would flip on a dime and say, no, free speech, free expression. What are we talking about here? We can't just ban the outlets because we don't like what they say. But wait, you just said that we should do that. You just said we should do that if it's biased or inaccurate. So which is it? Because Fox News is biased and inaccurate all the fucking time. In fact, if you were to map it out empirically, there's no doubt that there's more bullshit, more lies, more inaccurate statements said on Fox News than on MSNBC. And I despise MSNBC too, don't get me wrong, but Fox News is way worse in terms of if you objectively measure, hey, what percentage of the things they say are true versus not true. So can we stop these fucking triggered little snowflakes? Media's being mean to President Trump. Poop face. I don't like it. Let's shut them down if they say mean things. That is so authoritarian. That is like the definition of authoritarian. I don't like what you say, so I'm going to shut you down. And you really think you have a monopoly on the fucking truth? You really think so? If you're talking about, yeah, everything I believe is true. Everything outlets I don't like say is false. That's just not correct. That's just not correct. And who is going to watch the Watchmen? So you're going to give the government the ability to do this? You're the same people who say the government can't do anything right. So if you follow your own logic, the government will fuck up the media institutions even worse. What are you going to do? Have the same people who run the DMV decide who to shut down and who to keep open? Like, what the... they're so stupid. They're so stupid. So, look, I've been trying to make this point for a very long time. I feel like I'm the only one making this fucking point. But when you talk about free speech and free expression, oftentimes the only group discussed in that conversation are dumbass, oversensitive college kids and how they're rather authoritarian and they want to disinvite conservative speakers and stuff. Look, I'm against them when they do that, 100%. I would invite them and I'd say, hey, go ahead, you say whatever you want, even if I disagree with it, of course. But let's not be ridiculous and narrow-minded and ignore the fact that there's also a gigantic threat to free speech that comes from the right wing. President Donald Trump himself sued The Onion over a satire article about him. He sued Bill Maher over a joke that he didn't like, that hurt his feelings. You want to talk about a triggered little snowflake bitch who needs a safe space from a microaggression? That's Donald Trump, right-wing snowflake. As my friend Leon calls them, social injustice warriors. That's what they are. And here you nearly half the Republican Party. Yeah, close the outlets that are biased or inaccurate. If you don't believe in freedom of speech, for those whose opinions you despise the most, you don't believe in it at all.